All right, why don't we get started? For those of you that don't know me, my name is Rahul Bawa, and I am chairman of the Pipeline H2O program. Thank you. First, I'd just like to thank all of you for attending. This is a big day for us. About a little over 8 months ago, 2 floors up in this building, we announced on September 12th, 2016, that we were going to do a water program called Pipeline H2O. Since then, we've been working very hard, lots of people, and I'll go through some of their names a little bit later, putting the program together. Over the course from September 12th to the end of November, we had 66 applications from 14 different countries, 5 different continents to join the program. So the word obviously got out, and people were very interested in what we had to offer. We went through 4 rounds of selections, trying to pick the best of the best, and we picked 6 companies. Those are the ones you're going to hear about in a little bit. They're all sitting right here, founders and entrepreneurs, and they will have their time up here very soon. One of the things that people, think about is why here? Why in Cincinnati should we have a water program? Well, there's a lot of history, there's a lot of knowledge and expertise about water that people don't even know about that exists here. Cincinnati and Hamilton were both founded on rivers, either for trade or military. 1788 for Cincinnati, 1791 for Hamilton. The fountain, for those of you that are local, the fountain in Fountain Square, you may know it as the fountain on Fountain Square. You may know it as the Tyler Davidson Fountain. What you also may not know, that its real name is also the Genius of Water. The EPA. In 1971, the EPA opened its research center, Water Research Center, here in Cincinnati. It is the largest federally funded EPA research center in the country, and it's located right here in Cincinnati. In 1913, over 100 years ago, the first U.S. federally funded water research program was here in Cincinnati. So there's a lot of expertise here about water. But we're not done. We have some of the best utilities as well. Greater Cincinnati Water Works, who I know is represented here, thank you. Metropolitan Sewer District, Hamilton Utilities. And obviously, if you haven't gotten a bottle of Hamilton water, please do so anytime you want on your way out or in the middle. Hamilton has won awards for its tap water as the best municipal water in the world. So there's lots of expertise, knowledge here. So why are we doing this? And who are we really looking for? When we started this program, we consciously made a decision not to be a traditional accelerator. And what I mean by that is we're doing things a little bit differently. First, to be accepted or even to be in the running, you had to have more than an idea. You actually had to have a product in market, at least a prototype, and ideally some sales. So every single company you're going to hear has at least a prototype, if not more. Second, you had to be at a stage where you're actually ready for customers. We've developed a great list of partners that you can see here that are helping us not just evaluate these companies. Every single partner there was helping us evaluate them, but also helping us help them. After the presentations, you'll have time to talk to each of them, but they came into town 1 week a month in this building. And I think I can honestly say it was not an easy week for them. We pushed them hard. There was a lot of work, but we also gave them opportunities to actually meet customers. Success for us is not driven by how much money these companies raise, which is atypical for an accelerator. Success for us is driven pure and simple by their customers and how much revenue and impact they make. These companies are going to change the world. That's the exciting part. That's what we were looking for when we started this, and that's why we're doing this. So I thank every one of you for your time and for coming. I'm going to turn it over to Marilyn Waite, who is from Village Capital. And Village Capital, 3 years ago, approached Cincinnati, the city of Cincinnati, and said, you know what? I think you may have something with water. Village Capital is a seed-stage venture firm located in Washington, D.C. Marilyn is responsible for all of their energy investments, and she's going to talk about Village Capital for a minute. But they were really the impetus for this program existing here. They also were probably our best partner in terms of providing us lots of curriculum, lots of guidance, and we couldn't have done it without them. So I'd like to just welcome Marilyn onto the stage.
Thank you, Raul. Can you hear me? Just turn my mic on. Sound okay? Great. Well, thank you so much to Raul and all of the Pipeline community and partners. I'm happy to be here. Village Capital is an investment firm. We are based in 4 regions of the world: United States, Latin America, Sub-Saharan Africa, and mostly India and Southeast Asia. And we're all about democratizing entrepreneurship. So what does that really mean, and why are we doing it? So there are 3 blind spots that we're really addressing. The first blind spot in venture capital, which we think of as broken, is that people look at my world problems instead of the real world problems. So you're more likely to see venture capital firms investing in the latest parking app, your Snapchats, your dating apps, than in things like water, like addressing our sustainability challenges in agriculture, water, energy, transportation. So we're flipping the script here, and we're investing in 5 sectors: education, healthcare, financial inclusion, energy and clean tech, and agriculture. The second blind spot, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So you're probably very aware that over 3/4 of venture capital in this country goes to at most 3 locations: Silicon Valley and the Bay Area in California, Boston and New York. Over 90% of our portfolio is outside of those 3 regions. Third blind spot, 2-pocket thinking. So I have one pocket that I invest with, I make my money with, and I have another pocket that I give to, philanthropy. We are one-pocket thinkers, we're one-pocket doers. So we have one pocket that's doing both. We're doing both good, and we're having impact, and we're creating returns for investors. So Village Capital, through these 5 sectors, investing in these real-world problems, and we've had very encouraging results thus far. Now, our unique approach is something called peer-selected investments, and that's the approach that the Pipeline community has taken with this water cohort. What is peer selection? If you're familiar with the world of academia, if you're a scientist, you want to publish an article, it's your peers that validate your work. They validate whether it's publication worthy. In the investment world, not so much. So we're bringing the concept of peer review into the investment space by saying, if you get a group of entrepreneurs together that are solving the same challenge, facing the same customers, they're going to be the best forms of evaluation that you can actually find. And so by bringing entrepreneurs together, having them evaluate one another, and having them rank one another, that's how we make our investments. So we will bring entrepreneurs together, they'll evaluate one another, we'll bring in customers and investors in a process, and at the very end, the companies themselves will decide who we will invest in, which companies we'll invest in. So we're actually democratizing the whole process, putting our ultimate dollars in their hands, and they decide, and we go with it as an investment firm. So happy to talk to anyone who's interested about our process, about what we do across the country afterwards, and also very excited to hear the pitches from the companies. Thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn. I can honestly say this: we would not be here without Village Capital and everything they've done, from the impetus of this to helping us every step of the way. So thank you very much for coming in from DC and helping us out here. The day-to-day operation of Pipeline. A lot of work that went into this. These are the people who were really key in making it happen. I'll ignore my picture up there, but we've got Chris Lawson. Chris, where are you? Are you in the back there? Chris Lawson in the back. Chris is the executive director of the Hamilton Mill. And has been very helpful with that. Patrick Henshaw, who's sitting right here. Patrick is with Centrifuge. for those of you that have not been in this building, and I know I've talked to some of you before we got started about how great the building is. You can thank Centrifuge and that organization for that. They were very generous. All of our programming happened in this building. Obviously, demo days in this building. It's a great building. There's a big history there. You can find Patrick afterwards, and I'm sure he can talk to you about that. Last but not least, though, the day-to-day operations. There's a lot that goes into running an accelerator. There's a lot that goes into running a program like this. So I'm going to turn the mic over here in a minute to the person who really runs this most of the time. He's the one who has to put the agenda together, has to make sure that all the speakers are there, food's there, cookies for certain entrepreneurs, etc. So Anthony Seppi is the director of flow for Pipeline, title he came up with himself. We've got another term for him.
Aquaman.
I'm gonna turn it over to Anthony.
So, can everyone hear me? Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I actually want to go back to the last slide because that concerns me. I'm not sure what's coming out of my nose there, but that picture is disturbing when I first saw that. I don't know if that's a water droplet coming out of my nose or what, but anyway. So these guys are the rock stars right here. They're the ones that are making it happen. The world is a big place, and no matter where we live in that world, there are two essential things that really human beings need to thrive and survive. So they need community and water. So carrying that forward into the startup community, with the startups and our founders, they need support and they need customers is really what they need. So the Pipeline H2O program is really a convergence and expression of that. We've really built a program where we want to give them support and provide them customers. So that's what we built this program all about. So in fact, we've got a tagline. Our tagline is, pilot locally, deploy globally. So really that's what we're all about. And so really when we built out this program, in order for the program to be successful and our startups to be successful, we formed relationships and took advantage of the tremendous amount of resources and assets that we have throughout the region, specifically around water, industry, and startup development. So we introduced them to, and we made connections for them to the EPA. We've got a research lab just up the street in Clifton. Introduced them to those folks. We introduced them to water and beverage experts throughout the region. We had directors from Pepsi come in and talk with our startups and make connections, and hopefully they'll carry those connections further into the future. We made connections. We had the Greater Cincinnati Foundation. They came in and sat down with our startups, took time to sit down with our startups and make things happen. We had regional utilities. They came in and sat down with our startups, talked with our startups. City of Hamilton, Cincinnati Waterworks, Metro Sewer District, all of those entities, that are having real challenges out there. These guys have solutions to address those challenges. So, that's what we really wanted to do, help them make those connections and take it to the next level. So, that was really our goal, and I think we've accomplished that goal. You'll see, from these guys, from the first week they were here up until now, just tremendous, and you'll see that in the next few minutes. But really, what our goal is to really accelerate and commercialize, the startups. We want to accelerate, and move forward, smarter cities, more efficient cities. So we have more water, cleaner water, and we save more lives. So welcome to our community. And with that, I'd like to introduce you to the pipeline H2O neighbors.
Over 1 quadrillion gallons of water are consumed every year globally. And only 10% of that are used domestically for things like showering and washing your clothes. So that means over 900 trillion gallons are consumed every year by industry. But why does industry use so much water? There's roughly 100 million businesses globally that rely on clean water to produce their goods. Now, unbeknownst to most consumers, there's a significant water footprint associated with the production of these goods. Now, being from Kentucky, one of these numbers really stands out. That is a lot of water to make a single bottle of bourbon. And this is important because water is a critical ingredient in the final product. Now, you may be asking yourself, well, what's the big deal? I go home, turn on the faucet, water comes out. Well, simply put, that water is not good enough. Top quality bourbon needs top quality water. And the challenge is it's a complicated process to get this high purity water. It requires a series of pipes and storage tanks and membranes and filters and pumps. It's a complicated process that needs an engineer to really understand it. And this is a bottleneck of inefficiency in the industry. To quote one of our partners, we're a water treatment company that also sells bourbon. And this really hits the key of the problem. They're spending all their time and focus on creating water when they're supposed to be making the bourbon. So to help elaborate this point, I want to introduce you to Mary Ann. She is the first female master distiller in the state of Kentucky since Prohibition, and she really hates the burden of water treatment and how it enslaves her and takes her focus away from what she wants to do, which is make great tasting bourbon for you and me. In operations such as hers, up to 10% of their product costs can come from water treatment. And this is not just the equipment costs, the consumables costs, and the replacement parts, but also her time spent, her labor hours on maintaining and operating this equipment. This has a huge financial impact on the industry. When you account for all the factors around water treatment in the space, in the state of Kentucky alone, over $600 million are sitting in barrels spent on water treatment. Well, PowerTech has revolutionized the way water purification takes place, and we're changing the way people at Mary Ann and the industry purify their water. We have a simple plug-and-play solution that liberates our customers and frees them from this enslavement of this complicated process. Now, unlike most standard water treatment processes, we use no added chemicals. We have no high-pressure pumps, no membranes, no consumables, and no disposable components. What we have done is create a permanent filterless filtration system. So not only do we free our customers up from this burden, we also cost less. It's a win-win situation. So how does this work? We use a series of stacks of electrodes that purify the water as it flows through. Let's dive in a little deeper. We use patent-pending carbon electrochemistry and device operation that more effectively and reversibly removes the contaminants from water. Our unique porous carbon naturally attracts these contaminants. Now, once it's saturated, instead of throwing it away like a standard filter, we apply a small electric voltage. And what this does, this pushes the contaminants off of the surface that can then be flushed out through the system, thereby regenerating our device, letting it be used again to purify more water. And since we have no added chemicals, this flush water can just go down the drain. We actually have products in the field. We have customers who bought these devices and tell us how great they feel. They're now free from the burden of having to monitor filters and have to replace them every 3 months, 6 months, a year, etc. So when we compare it to all the technologies available to purify the water, we care about what our customers care about. And what they want is they want a device that's going to last a really long time and it's going to be really easy to use. And that's where PowerTech water is going to win. Our devices require little to no maintenance and last significantly longer time periods than the competing solutions. Moreover, it is a very versatile system that we can fine-tune to target specific contaminants, thereby replacing the need for a multitude of technologies when you only have a specific contaminant you want to treat. We have a series of patents across the US, China, and Europe that are exclusively licensed from the University of Kentucky, and we're continuing to grow our own patent portfolio. The technology has been validated and vetted by the National Science Foundation with over $1 million in grant funding for large-scale pilot demonstrations. Now, the water treatment market is just astronomically huge, approaching, if not surpassing, $1 trillion. However, our initial approach is just the tip of the iceberg of the large market, is focused on the food and beverage space because water is so critical to their final product. In the US alone, this is about $200 million, more globally. But the good part is, we can easily expand into the larger and more complicated markets through the help of strategic partners. And the nice part here is, every single one of these markets have near identical pain points. So that means we have one product that can fit every different market need. We don't have to develop a new product for every vertical. So combined, this gives us a roughly $13 billion addressable market. And we're going to approach it by being a B2B company. We're going to manufacture and sell our systems to key channel partners and distributors, who in turn distribute to their mass network. What this does, this lays down the foundation for rapid market adoption without requiring us, a small startup, massive amounts of resources to develop our own brand and distribution network. This solution is scalable as we transition from selling directly to the end users to validate technology to being the distribution model. And at these price points to the end user, we can get roughly a 6-month to 3-year term investment for the customer, depending on if it's a new build or a retrofit. Now, once we hit these kinds of sales numbers, mergers and acquisitions is extremely robust with innovative water companies. Once you've shown that this new technology is validated, there's customer demand, the top tier companies like Veolia, GE, Nalco, they snatch up. That's how they innovate. They no longer do in-house. They buy companies that make it to the top. And this gives us a very robust exit plan in the 2020 timeframe. And we have the perfect team to execute in this solution. Dr. James Landon, who's back in the audience, is the inventor and world-leading expert in the field. I myself have had a prior commercial success in the beverage space, so I have the contacts and the network to get into that sector, to get the technology into it and validate it. We've also built a world-class team of advisors focused on world domain expertise in the water space, technology companies with CEO experience working with these top-tier partners such as GE. And we're initiating our channel partners to help get our products to market. So water is a big deal, and big companies are taking notice, and they're spending big money to make more efficient use of their water. So to quote the now former CEO of Coke, if you're not at least thinking about water efficiency and sustainable practices in your business, you're probably not going to be in business in the future. So check us out at powertechwater.com to learn more about the technology, and come see me at my booth over there to enjoy some of Kentucky's finest.
Hi, my name is May Sharif, and I'm the Managing Director of Agua Clara. We design non-electric municipal-scale water treatment technologies that are sustainable in underserved communities, and we train international NGOs to deploy those systems regionally. 750 million people around the world lack access to clean drinking water, and 3 million people die every year due to waterborne disease. In rural communities, people carry jerry cans to distant, untreated water sources, wait in long lines, and carry back whatever they can physically hold. How have we failed to provide this most basic human need to 1 in 10 people across the globe? Well, we go into communities that look like this and install technologies that look very complicated. So basically, there are mechanized and packaged plants that are basically black box systems and require a lot of proprietary knowledge to have ongoing operation. They have electronics, sensors, pumps that break down rapidly. There aren't skilled technicians available to help maintain those systems in the long run. And because they're so complicated and they have such a high cost due to energy, the operators often bypass the water treatment in order to save money. So due to the difficulty of installing these systems or sustaining these systems in rural areas, NGOs have turned to biosand filters or handheld technologies like life straws. So these systems are basically, households don't end up maintaining these systems properly. They don't replace parts as required. and they don't provide the benefits of having safe drinking water on tap. So when the water used to bathe children or wash dishes is possibly contaminated, then communities run the risk of having repeated gastrointestinal infections. Agua Clara designs municipal-scale water treatment systems with the community in mind. They're built using locally available materials with local labor, can be operated by a person with a 6th grade education, and they are powered entirely by gravity. The systems were developed in 2005 at Cornell University, and they treat surface waters, like those from a river or stream, for populations of up to 30,000 people. We treat the water for turbidity, or things that cause the water to be cloudy, and pathogens. We do this by adding a small amount of chemical to the water to make the dirt particles in the water sticky. We then mix the water so that the dirt particles collide, stick together, and grow in size. When they're heavy enough, they settle to the bottom, producing water that meets World Health Organization standards for drinking water quality. We take it a step further by filtering the water with sand and disinfecting it. These are conventional systems that we've made faster, more affordable, simpler, and higher performing. For just $1 to $5 per household per month, we are able to produce 120 liters of water per person per day, taking water that looks like this and turning it into water that looks like this. Our business model is based on the empowerment of local organizations. We co-create open source designs with our partners in the field, leveraging the latest research from Cornell. We train them over the course of several projects so that we learn hand in hand the challenges they face in the field. This enables us to continually craft new and innovative solutions for the unique challenges of diverse communities. Our current partners include Gram Vikas, an NGO in India that has been installing water and sanitation infrastructure for the last 40 years, and the Tata Cornell Initiative, the philanthropic arm of the Tata Group. In reality, any development bank, local government, or private donor who seeks to promote health and nutrition, economic development, education, or gender equality must first invest in safe drinking water on tap. Agua Clara constitutes the ligaments and bones that hold these complementary initiatives together, allowing them to take root and grow. Of the 750 million people who lack access to clean drinking water, we can currently serve 75 million. Current research will enable us to treat additional contaminants, as well as create designs for increasingly larger and smaller communities, increasing our market to 150 million people. Our team consists of Dr. Monroe Weber Shirk, who founded the Agua Clara Laboratory at Cornell. I have worked on the design of multiple systems running in Honduras to this day, in addition to managing 4 field pilots of our newest technologies in India. Mark Hurwitz spent 30 years in product development in the filtration and separations industry during his time with the Paul Corporation. Simone St. Anne, our creative advisor, has studied the impact of communication on health initiatives in India. John Finn spent 2 years in Cambodia running various development programs and has also led major engineering firms in the US for 30 years. Since 2005, we have built 14 plants in Honduras serving 65,000 people in total. And since 2013, we've built 4 plants in India serving 2,000 people in total. These are all being run independently by the communities they serve to this day, and we have our 5th plant being built in India as we speak. Due to our training model, our revenues are directly proportional to the number of organizations utilizing our services. In year 5, with 12 partners, we expect to earn $1.6 million in revenue. However, we measure success in terms of the number of people served. With $300 in new funding, we expect to reach 350,000 people served by the end of 2021. Having an Agua Clara system completely transforms the communities that they serve. In one of our towns in Honduras, the health centers were not keeping track of the number of waterborne diseases occurring in the community because there were far too many to keep track of. Once our system was commissioned, the health of the community improved dramatically, and they began keeping track of the more manageable numbers. With improved health, adults have more productive working days, and children attend school more often. The men and women who participate in the construction of their systems gain additional employable skills and go on to work similar construction projects in neighboring communities. Having safe drinking water on tap has benefits that cascade into every aspect of life. not only allowing communities to survive, but thrive. In the time I've been speaking, 60 people have died due to contracting a waterborne disease. The need for a sustainable solution is urgent. Agua Clara is tried, tested, and proven, and now is the time for us to scale our impact. Join us on our journey to help communities around the world prosper. Thank you.
Bonsoir, je suis Emmanuel Briquet. Oh, sorry. Hi, I'm Emmanuel Briquet from CRM. Due to my thick Eastern Ohio accent and confusion that might bring to you, I will let Tom Andrews present CRM.
Hi, I'm Tom Andrews with Siren. Siren is revolutionizing water treatment technology. The U.S. faces a growing demand for a limited resource, clean water. Large volumes of water are utilized in farming, industry, and municipal waste management. The byproduct of this use is contaminated water that is frequently discharged to the environment. Current water treatment solutions are outdated, complex, expensive, and energy intensive. The vacuum airlift, or VAL, is a multifunction device that cleans water using low energy. The VAL revolutionizes water treatment by harnessing the power of nature and streamlining water management. The main components of the VAL are a vacuum pump, the VAL tower, and a supply of air. These components combine to produce a flow of bubbles that produces a waste-laden foam that is extracted by the vacuum and discharged. Here's how the magic happens. The VAL tower consists of two concentric tubes. A vacuum pump draws water up the VAL tower. Bubbles injected at the base of the VAL create an airlift, causing the water to circulate. As the bubbles rise in the VAL, they exchange gases and collect suspended solids. The treated water cascades back down the VAL, while the waste gases and solids are extracted by the vacuum and discharged from the system. The VAL is energy efficient because it is primarily powered by the natural forces of atmospheric pressure and gravity. Siren's core team consists of the founding members, Emmanuel Briquet, John Brooks, and myself. Emmanuel has extensive experience as a business owner and entrepreneur. He has 25 years experience in aquaculture and was Europe's first certified organic fish farmer. In addition, he has served as an industry expert for the United Nations. Our CFO, John Brooks, has an extensive financial background, including serving as the controller of a large corporation. My background is in engineering and business development. Siren's first target market is fish farms. The aquaculture industry is expanding rapidly, providing an addressable market of $300 million a year. The VAL is an ideal solution for fish farms because of its ability to clean, aerate, and circulate water. In addition, our experience in this field greatly facilitates the integration process. VALs are currently providing clean water for millions of farm-raised fish. As you can see, current aquaculture systems are complex, capital-intensive, and consume a lot of energy. The VAL greatly simplifies these systems by eliminating approximately half the components and replacing them with a single device. The result is a streamlined system with a greater than 25% reduction in both capital and operating cost. This occurs through a consolidation of system functions in a single device and a reduction in input power and other consumables. The cost reduction is achieved with improved reliability, maintainability, and water quality. Our competitive advantage arises from the low energy input inherent in a vacuum-based system, the high reliability resulted from no wetted moving parts, the reduction of consumables, and the economic and footprint benefits of a multifunctional device. This competitive advantage is ensured through patent-protected intellectual property. After establishing ourselves in aquaculture, we will expand to industrial, agricultural, and municipal water treatment, creating an addressable market of nearly $4 billion. Entry into these markets will be accomplished through partnering with integrators that package a complete water treatment solution. This approach allows Siren to leverage the knowledge and experience of these partners to enter these more regulated markets. Our next step for these markets will be to pilot systems in these segments. Our business model is to work with US-based fish farmers and system designers to develop valve-based systems. In addition, Siren is working with local system integrators and utilities to enter into these markets. Siren will generate income through the sale and installation of valves and ancillary equipment. Pilot systems to validate performance at fish farms are currently in process. Upon successful completion of those trials, we anticipate significant production orders in the fall of 2017 and early 2018. Revenue from production orders allows us to reach break-even cash flow in the fall of 2018. We expect to generate more than $10 million in revenue starting in 2021. Our long-term strategy is to work with system integrators in industrial wastewater, municipal potable and wastewater, and the oil and gas industry. Proof of concept demonstrations have been conducted for a variety of applications, including brewery discharge, VOC extraction, agricultural runoff, municipal wastewater, and algae cultivation. Revenue generated from aquaculture sales will be used to finance development and pilot systems in these new segments. Siren is seeking to add to its current network of support and strategic partners by assembling an advisory board, developing domestic supply chain partners, and expanding our strategic alliances with system integrators. Come talk to us if you're interested in joining the Siren revolution. Thank you.
Something remarkable is occurring. The electric energy industry is changing dramatically, and it will influence how power is delivered to all of us. I'm Paul Kling. I'm with KW River Hydroelectric, and I'd like to tell you about a technology that we've developed that will precisely match the market opportunities brought about by these changes. First, let me give you a little bit of background. There's basically 5 different ways that power is produced today in the United States, but each one of them has limited future potential. Let me tell you about the nuclear industry. First of all, nuclear power represents about 20% of the power that we receive today. But right now, there are no new nuclear plants scheduled to be built at all. And 20% of the ones that we do have are scheduled to be retired in the next 10 years. Coal, 135 coal-fired power plants have been shut down in the last 2 years. That's the equivalent of the entire state of Colorado and Kentucky combined. And that trend is likely to continue into the future due to environmental concerns. Gas-fired power plants have their position, but there is a limit to the number of gas pipelines in the United States, and they're subject to price volatility in the gas markets, making them a very reluctant investment for most firms. There's been a lot of wind and solar power built recently, but even at its best, they have limited capability to supply the energy needs of the United States. Finally, we have large hydropower, but nearly every large hydro facility in the United States has been built out. Clearly, our national energy strategy requires a new power source. Recognizing this, the Department of Energy recently commissioned studies that revealed that there are 70,000 unpowered low-head dams in the United States, and 3% of these alone can provide enough power for 10 million homes. At the same time, KW River Hydroelectric was developing a technology unlike any other. It requires no modification to the dam, makes the dam safer, produces significant amounts of power continuously, and is considered environmentally benign and is actually unseen beneath the water. The little diagram here shows you how we positioned our device on the downstream side of the dam. The water flows over through our device, spins the turbine, and out the other side. What we found was that this device in these conditions has stunning market potential. Each individual site that we build out can produce $1.4 million in revenue per year. has a payback on the investment of less than 8 years and has a 25-year operating life. Overall, the market value of the top 2,000 sites of those 70,000 produces over $2.8 billion in revenue per year. We began talking about this technology with some partners, and we were able to put together a world-class group of strategic partners. This group is currently working as a team to develop our prototype, which is scheduled to be installed in the first quarter of 2018 at Hamilton, Ohio, on the Great Miami River. The key players in business model. There's just a few key players. The dam owners, who are typically municipalities and government agencies, see a new revenue source and improved safety. The electric utilities are actually compelled to buy the power under regulation, but they're receiving a new source of renewable energy which satisfies their state mandates. They're also able to form microgrids off of this because the power supply from our device is uninterruptible. It's not subject to weather conditions. It runs 24/7, 365. Our customers are actually investors, independent power producers, utilities, other hydro firms, and developers. And our business model is really quite simple and has been proven out in the wind industry. It's almost identical to the wind industry, and we can be considered a wind turbine of rivers. We have a very flexible strategy in which we can sell devices, sell systems, own systems, or license our technology. And we have an exit strategy that matches the wind industry as well. We have several competitive advantages. Each unit produces 500 kilowatts of power, and we do that at 60% of the current industry cost. The units are hydraulically connected across the river, so we're able to capture all the power across the entire expanse of the river. The units are underwater and protected from weather and debris. There's less cost, less time, and less risks to install, and there's more sites available and more power per site than any other technology. Here's what our timeline looks like. There's two key milestones on the timeline. The first one is pilot performance testing in 2018, which again will be in Hamilton, Ohio. And the second is commercial sales, which we expect to occur shortly after that and throughout 2019 and 2020. This produces an earnings cycle that looks like this for us, where we actually go positive on earnings in just 3 years. In summary, we have leading edge, fully patented technology, weather resilient, renewable, 24/7, 365 power. We address a clear nationwide industry challenge. We've got the best technology at the right time in the right market. We have world-class partners on board and active, and we have a proven business model with just 3 years to positive earnings. Undoubtedly, our technology will have a large impact in the United States, but we also believe it will be game-changing for humanitarian efforts worldwide. We're inspired by a phone call that we received several months ago from a Nigerian official who told us this technology would absolutely save lives in his country. When could he get a device? We believe that not only will we be able to provide new sources of renewable energy in the United States, but we will be able to provide new sources of power worldwide. Thank you for listening, and I'd be happy to answer any questions after the presentations.
I'm Stephen Naylor with Analyze. We are changing the way the world tests water using DNA. Now, most of you are probably aware of the dangers of consuming heavy metals such as mercury and lead. And Flint, Michigan is a great example of this. Really popular in the news, of course. It's system-wide. They were having lead issues in their water. Now, what you may not know is that there are 3,000 other areas that have lead issues 2 times what Flint is going through. 3,000. And what you may not know also is that the issue is not typically system-wide. It's often specific to a fixture. So you could have one water fountain that works great and producing safe water, and the one next to it, high levels of lead. Typically caused by lead solder and by brass fittings inside. An example, Massachusetts dedicated $2 million last year to measuring lead and copper in their public schools. Now, I want to share a couple numbers with you here. $1.4 million of this money was spent just for testing in the laboratories. 12% of all the tests for lead failed. 12% were above the EPA limits in these schools. And the scariest number of all, some schools only tested 2 fixtures. Here's where the $1.4 million goes. It goes to large, expensive equipment, highly skilled operators, and they have to manage the samples. Identification, storage, disposal. This causes a number of issues. Testing can take weeks to get results, if not months. What are you doing? What's happening to that sample during that time? Is it being drunk? The costs are high, up to $25 per test. And that doesn't even include the container, the preservation, the acid that you're using, and the shipping, just to get it to the laboratory. And this is outsourced. So how do you identify where the actual issue is? They're going to send you a number, and you're going to say, oh, okay, it failed, but where is the actual issue? And then how do you know that that number is correct? Is there a way to confirm that? So there's clearly a need for on-site testing. There's other devices out there that have essentially taken the laboratory and thrown it into a box. And it comes with the same issues. You have same type laboratory operations, you have lots of steps, which could lead to a lot of potential errors. And you have the chemical handling and the storage and disposal that comes with that. This is not easy to use. Here is our laboratory. My son says it looks like a Lego block. And let me show you how easy this is. You take 1 milliliter of buffered sample, squeeze it through our sensor into the fluorimeter, and push start. 30 seconds later, you have your results. Below EPA limits. Clear, simple, right there. You can take action right now at that moment. I'm sure you kind of see the benefits here. At $6 a test, less than $6 a test, Massachusetts could have tested every fixture in every school for a fraction of what they paid. It takes less than 2 minutes to get a result. You don't need to train anyone. This is extremely simple. It exceeds EPA limits. Our lead sensor goes down to 2 parts per billion. EPA limits 15. And if you want to confirm your results, you think, I want to make sure that that is the right answer, just run another test right then. And the thing is that this device, you can measure copper, you can measure any sensor that we have on this single device. Here's how it works. Through a process called in vitro selection, we start with 100 trillion DNA sequences. And through this process, we narrow it down to one single sequence that reacts with what we're looking for, the target. Lead, for example. And only with lead. Once we find that DNA sequence, we attach a fluorophore to it. So what happens is when that DNA sees the target it was designed for, it fluoresces. And we measure the fluorescence. The higher the fluorescence, the higher the concentration. We currently have 6 sensors for the main heavy metals here. And you'll notice cadmium's kind of hard to see there, it's yellow, but you can notice that everything is color-coded to prevent error. You can't mix these up. Green's lead, orange is uranium. Our technology is validated. We went through a process with the EPA, ETV verification. It's a 145-page report that pretty much compares our technology with ICP-MS, the industry standard, clearly showing we do what we say we do. We've also partnered with a lot of people and been reviewed by a number of organizations. We also have $3 million worth of grants that have been dedicated to this technology. We've been selling this for a while now, so we have a number of customer bases already in a lot of different applications. So this technology can be used in municipal drinking water, industrial water, mining applications, surface water, groundwater. The same device, the same sensors can be used for a lot of different applications and industries. What's next on our plate? Well, we have a continuous device right now. We're calling the AND 2000 that's in final beta stage, due to be released this year. This is a device that fits on the wall and just measures water continuously. 30 days of unattended operation. You put the reagent in there and you walk away, and it's going to alarm, it's going to send signals, everything that you would need. We're also finaling a chromium sensor, another big heavy metal there, and nickel is well underway. Now, this technology is what we call a true platform technology, because we can design DNA to look for anything we want. Bacteria, viruses, algae toxins, chemicals, anything you want. So we already have an E. coli sensor that we're finalizing right now. We are planning to do Legionella and coliform to accompany those. And we can also do chemicals, pesticides. We have a lot of research under pesticides. We know these are out there, and we can do those also. It's called a true platform. Now, I want to share with you a recent success story that shows that we have solved this lead issue in schools. St. Paul, Minnesota did 7,000 tests in their schools. They found 230-some fixtures that were above EPA limits for lead. They were able to immediately shut those off and remediate the issue. There's a great report done on this. You can view it on our website. It's not too long, by ABC News. We really are addressing water testing globally. And afterwards, I'm going to do some testing over here on the water here. So if anyone would like to see the process up close, I'll be right over here afterwards. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mark Hogg, and I'm with WaterStep. It's an honor to be with you tonight. I don't know about you, but if I've ever been in front of somebody that has severe anxiety or distressed or seems lost, if you will, there's a part of me that wants to do something about that, that wants to reach out and solve a problem, if you will. In disaster situations around the world, when we face people that are in those situations, they are certainly upset. They feel hopeless. They feel despair. And here's the thing, in those situations, it's not just amidst the loss that they've had in the disaster, amidst the difficulty that they've had, possibly with the loss of loved ones, there is the day-to-day moving on that's stressful. How are they going to live? How are they going to move from one place to another? How are they going to get the resources that they need? And the angst that comes with this is severe. What we found out at WaterStep in the last 20 years plus, we've been working with water in the developing world and in disaster situations. And in that amount of time, we've had some innovative ideas that we've brought to the table and some technologies that we work with to make a difference in these situations. Water is a critical foundational step in responding to a disaster. And this is the Water on Wheels. I'm going to show you this in a few minutes, that we brought all of these technologies that we've spent these years working in. We've been working in with over 40 countries, and we brought this to the game in a cart that's mobile and operational. I want to introduce you to Mary Lou. She's in the Philippines. We met her in November of 2013, just after the typhoon had wiped away her community. Like many people in communities there, she was anxious. She was in despair. She was hopeless. And as we talked with her, she was also very concerned about her child and her community and herself because she was sick. She was sick of waterborne illness. Here's the kicker. We were able to provide her and her community the tools to be able to supply themselves, empower them to supply their own safe water needs, indefinitely into the tune of potentially 10,000 gallons of safe water a day. Now that is a game changer. So Water Step, why are we after this issue, this problem? UN data says that there's over 400,000% increase in disasters. They're coming. They happen more and more often, and we've got the same exact technologies and plans addressing the water needs in those disasters that we've had for a very, very long time. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about some of that, but right now I'd like to talk to you a little bit about our business model. We're a nonprofit from Louisville, Kentucky, and you might be wondering, what's a nonprofit doing standing up there with the pipeline business folk? Well, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that. Water on Wheels is actually a part of a for-profit company underneath WaterStep. And as we sell these tools, these carts, the Water on Wheels, those sales provide money that's donated to WaterStep. Because Water on Wheels believes that water is important every day, and WaterStep is about working in the developing world every single day to make a difference to save lives with safe water. Here's another kicker. How many of you guys are concerned about your donated dollar getting where it's supposed to be, or how much of that is getting there? Well, sure, we all are. Well, what we're excited about for our donors is as this business grows, 100% of their donated dollar will be able to go directly in the field with WaterStep, and that's a game changer for them as well. As we look out over the next few years, you can see the people served over the revenue grows exponentially as the company grows and matures. But don't forget this. With every unit that is deployed, it is a life-saving tool in the midst of disaster. So it's sitting there waiting to be deployed, or it's being used as it's been addressed in a disaster, and folks are being able to provide themselves safe water. I'd like to introduce you to Patrick. Met Patrick 2 months ago in Mocoa, Colombia, right after a landslide wiped out many neighborhoods in that community. Patrick's an emergency worker in Colombia. He shows up to the situation, but he's got some of that angst that you and I talked about just a couple of minutes ago. He's seeing people that are hopeless, seeing people that are in despair, and he wants to do something about it, but he's got a problem. Every disaster Patrick showed up at, he cannot provide a large group of people a large amount of safe water. There was no safe water in Mocoa. What we were able to do for Patrick is provide him the tools that he could then provide to the people in a disaster so that they could take care of their own water and sanitation needs. And today, 85 kitchens in Mocoa get brought disinfectant every single day to handle the germs just in those kitchens to try to make the community better. You see, in a disaster, when we're sick and we're tired, when we're wore out and we're hopeless, we can't make a difference. We can't make a difference because we can't think outside of ourselves and our need. So what these people are able to do then is be empowered to provide their own safe water. This is how it works. I'm going to drag this thing over here. I hope you guys have been wondering what this is. I wanted to do a magic trick, and I actually asked Emmanuel if he would jump out of here like some girl out of a cake or something, but he wouldn't do that. He's French. So here she is. the water on wheels, we call her the WOW. We like that very much. Now, don't be scared or freaked out or nervous. It's not like we're asking the captain of the cheerleading team to go to the prom or anything. What we've done here is we stripped off the cover and we're showing you the guts on the inside. But we could teach every single one of you in a matter of hours how to operate this machine and save lives. And here's some pretty cool things about this. So we're going to pull up into a situation in a disaster, and what's the first problem we got? We ain't got no power. So we're off grid. So what are we going to do? So we've got a situation here where we've got solar power, battery power, electric power, a generator to help us out in that situation. And then we're going to need to grab our water, right? So we're going to do that. We're going to go to a river, lake, stream. We're going to pump that water out. We're going to get that water into big bladder tanks. Heck, if we had a fire truck, we got a tool that you can plug right into this thing that hooks up to a fire truck hose, and we're going to pump that water out where we need it. And then we're going to send the water through a series of filters that you can dial in and out as you need. And the filters are a special IP product that we've developed that we have ourselves. Also, we're going to send this through a UV if we wanted to. And then also, we're going to be able to purify the water with salt. Pretty amazing stuff, and that stuff all happens right here. And then here's the deal. What if you're a medical worker on site, kind of like Patrick was? How do you get disinfected? You ever thought about that? So I need safe water for sure, but what if I need disinfection where I'm working? So on the cart, we've got a disinfection machine that's pretty amazing, and that disinfectant machine with salt can provide a disinfectant material that's as strong as the World Health Organization standards say they need for Ebola. Is that pretty crazy? So now you've got safe water, you've got water storage, you've got disinfectant, what's not to like, and you can do it, learn this in a matter of hours, and Patrick doesn't need to freak out every time he shows up to a disaster because he doesn't have the tools that he needs. So, I don't know about you, but in disasters, I think like there's a bunch of people that know what the heck they're doing, right? I mean, gosh, doesn't somebody have this stuff solved? Well, let's go back to Katrina. You remember Katrina? So all these people are down here. That's that picture of Katrina, and they're all freaking out, and they don't have any safe water. Well, this could be in Honduras. This could be in Chile. This could be in Brazil. This could be absolutely India, anywhere. This is a situation in a disaster. Well, in this disaster, when people are hurting, what's the common resource? I mean, how do you provide safe water? Aren't there other tools other than the WOW? Well, heck yeah. Reverse osmosis is an option, but it's big, it's expensive, it's hard to get around, and then you've got to have somebody that's a trained technician to operate the darn thing, and it uses a ton of fuel. So what's the other idea? Bottled water. So in the first 2 weeks in Katrina, there were 98 million bottles of water delivered down to Katrina. Can you imagine that? So we'd all be behind a table, I guess, and say, hey, next, come get your bottled water. How do we manage that? You can't manage that. We don't even know how much got to people. And then here's the deal a lot of people don't think about. What about after the disaster? So after the disaster, Katrina was left with 98 million bottles just in the first 2 weeks of trash that those people had to get rid of. Imagine being in a developing world situation and you're left with garbage to get rid of. Don't you need your resources to rebuild? This is our team, and a lot of them are here tonight. I can't wait for you to meet some of these folks. Curtis has been with me in this incredible program at Pipeline H2O. We've got our team of innovators and engineers here that are volunteer. We've got some students here from Bellarmine University and U of L that have been a part of the work we do. I want you to meet them. It's pretty amazing what we've been able to do, and we're very excited about the wow that this cart brings. Now, I don't know why you're here. Everybody might be for some different reason, but I'm telling you this. Every single one of us can save lives with safe water, and that's what we want to talk to you about tonight. We want to get to know you and figure out how together we can make a difference somewhere. Thanks for letting us be here tonight. It's an honor. It's an honor to hang out with these guys, and I'm telling you, the Pipeline crew has loved on us, taught us, and challenged us to the next level. You're in the right spot. Thanks.
So, What do you think? I think that was pretty good. Let's have another round of applause for all the country. So I think they did an amazing job. But we're not done. I don't know if you remember what Marilyn said. We have some money to give out. So, as Marilyn talked about, what we did in this program is we used the Village Capital Framework. They call it an enterprise framework, and it is based on peer review. We're going to announce 2 winners, each of which will get $25,000. I didn't pick them. Anthony didn't pick them. Chris Lawson didn't pick them. Patrick Henshaw didn't pick them. The people you saw today picked them. That's very unique to the Village Capital process, and that's what we love about the process. Every week when they were in town for 4 months, they went through the process, they did a peer review, they saw the ranking, except of course this week. They did the ranking, but they have no idea who the winners are. So Anthony, why don't you come on up? And we will announce the winners. So the 2 winners, in no particular order other than alphabetical, are PowerTech and Serum. So come on up. Come on up, guys. Don't forget your certificate there. There's money to follow, don't worry. I just want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you very much for your attendance. We greatly appreciate it.